something. Cool, but can you be Obi-Wan Kenobi freezing his butt off while he's irritated that Anakin is not listening to him? And I really had to learn the business side of voiceover in addition to everything else.
I am Vactor, and this is the Vactor-Verse. My guest today is Bonnie Marie Williams, actress and voiceover superhero. She knows that with great voice comes great responsibility. You can find her over at vosuperhero.com. Bonnie, thank you for joining me here in the Vactor-Verse.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here in the Vactor-Verse. Very nice to be here.
No offense to my other host, Shoff, who is also a voiceover artist, but you have the best voice of any guest that has ever been on this show. So thank you very much for joining us and blessing us with your golden pipes today.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You stood out to me. Obviously, as you could tell, I am a big superhero guy. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man and all things comic books, but your VO superhero branding kind of stuck out to me. So I wanted to get first your canon event, your origin story for how you became an actor, voiceover artist, and then how did you come across the superhero aspect? How did you decide that? So first and foremost, how did you get started in this crazy business?
Yeah, so we'll start with that. Yeah, we'll do one question at a time because otherwise I will rant and ramble the entire time, and we don't have time for that. Because I do have a session later. But I got started as an actor when I was little. Both of my parents did theater growing up, but never pursued it professionally. We had family friends in the industry. I grew up out here in Southern California, Los Angeles area. So my grandparents both worked at Paramount Studios. So that was always like a showbiz adjacent is what I call it. Being so close to the industry, but not being in it. And my mom did not let me pursue acting professionally as a child. She said, you know, and this was at the time, she said, I didn't want you to become Drew Barrymore and go through all that as a kid. Which we know now, Drew has obviously, you know, we're not going to go into the union stuff, but she got out of that, got clean, got sober, all of that. And that is an absolutely incredible story. But there was a lot of stuff there in the meantime. And my mom said, I just wanted you to have a normal childhood. Well, I was anything but a normal kid. So, but I was always doing theater and writing plays, and I just loved doing that. And I lost a little bit of that confidence going into high school. High school was a really weird time for me. I lost a lot of confidence. And then one of my acting teachers in high school said, you know, you should be on stage. You are good enough. And I said, oh, okay. So then I started pursuing that, and I loved it. And I said, when I was 16, I said, I want to be a working actor someday. But I thought that meant Broadway. I'm not that great of a singer or dancer, but I thought I can act my way through it. Or I'll go be on Saturday Night Live because I love sketch comedy and character work. And then I ended up staying close to home due to some family stuff. So I just pursued acting. And then throughout doing theater, one of my former professors in college when I was getting my undergrad was doing a lot of voiceover, and she told me about it. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then another friend from theater who was also a phenomenal voice actor was telling me I should do it. And she even said, you're technically my competition, but I think you would be so good. And I said, okay, cool, good, great, fine. And then I ended up doing a radio station, a commercial for a Mexican food restaurant at my local college. And I thought, well, that was fun, but I'm going to go to New York and I'm staying home. But I did a voiceover job. That was 2011. And I just didn't think anything of it. So it was more people telling me you should do this. And I got really burnt out on doing TV and film out here and doing theater because nobody knew what to do with me. I was being told in the audition rooms, you know, you're too big to be the girl next door or to be the ingenue or the lead, but you're too small to be the quote unquote fat funny friend. We don't know what to do with you, but you're funny and you're good, but you don't look like these characters. And this was 10 years ago. And I said, I want to be an actor, but man, this sucks. And then more people said, you need to do voiceover. And I said, okay. And I got into my friend's booth, and the freedom that I felt of they don't care what you look like. I got to just play with my voice and with characters, and we were improvising, and I had so much fun. It reminded me of when I was getting my undergrad degree. And so I
Mm.
said, this is what I want to do. And I began pursuing it full time, full time. Took me a few years to go full time, but that's when I just pivoted totally into that. And I said, I'm never doing TV and film again, which is not true because I've been doing stuff again. But, the industry is a little different now and you make those connections and you build those relationships. But yeah, that's kind of how that started. And I've been primarily doing that full time. And it has been a journey.
Nice. That's excellent. And, something that I find very fascinating and interesting is I follow actors who are voiceover actors and then on-screen actors, but everything that I've ever seen in interviews or seen online was they said it is not you just doing a funny voice.
Yep.
Like most people, when they think voice acting, like, oh, I could do a Daffy Duck voice, and so I should be a voice actor.
Yeah.
But every single one that I saw was like, no, you need to be an actor
Hmm.
first.
Yeah.
And that's just where it's just another form of acting. So
Yep.
I've always been fascinated by that. Um, when you are looking for roles, do you specifically go after, let's say, video games or specifically animated shows? Do you have a specific, or is it just anything that appeals to you is what you apply for
It's
or audition for?
all over. I don't like to limit myself to one genre because it's fun to try something new. Video games are an
Mm,
area that now that I've moved back here to Los Angeles are something I want to do more of. So I've been taking classes and training in that because it is a different type of voice acting. And you're exactly
mm.
right. It's acting, it's not just doing a funny voice. And so when people come to me and they say, I do a really good Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, cool, but can you be Obi-Wan Kenobi freezing his butt off while he's irritated that Anakin is not listening to him? Can you do something like
Yeah.
that? Or is it just quoting and parroting what you've heard? And that's the
Mm.
thing that I think people don't necessarily realize until you put it that way and they go, oh, this is different. It's like, yeah. And it's hard. I have been in classes where I have cried out of frustration, like, why can't I get this? Because it's hard.
Mm,
Because it's hard. It's not easy. So, um, I like to do whatever. I mean, I do everything from animation. Next year, one of my big goals for my career next year is to do more video game work. That sounds really fun. I have friends that do it, and that's an area that's uncharted territory. So I don't want to limit
mm.
myself. But today, I'm doing animation stuff. I'm doing some e-learning stuff, and I'm doing some phone, like, thank you for calling da da da. Like, I'm doing those things just today. So, and an
Wow.
audiobook that I'm working on later. So that's just on
Nice.
my docket today. And you
Nice.
have to mentally switch what you're doing when you go from different genres.
Mm,
Like a video game read is going to be different than a commercial read, which will be different from an on hold read, which will be different from this. They all have different methods that you act them with. It's just
mm.
different methodologies and different genres. Just like on
Right.
camera acting is totally different than theater acting. So if you're doing the big theater acting, so that's my background. If you're doing big theater acting on screen, people are going to think you are a freak of nature. Like it just does not work. But if you're doing on camera acting in theater, nobody's going to hear you.
Mm.
It's that
Yeah.
same type
Yeah,
of thing.
that's fascinating to me. I've always found that interesting going between the different formats, and I've been a fan of acting my whole life. I've never pursued it myself, but I've just been a fan of TV, film, animation, even video games. Like there's just so many different facets and aspects of acting that
Storytelling.
yeah, and that you're 100% correct. Storytelling, I think, is the root of so many different mediums and genres and formats that I didn't realize it when I was growing up. I was like, oh, I could probably trace all of my interests back to I like a good story.
Hmm.
That's point blank. Whether it's in a video game, whether it's in an animated show, whether it's in a TV, a movie, comic book, anything, the medium and the format does not matter to me. It is tell me a great story, and that's just goes back to the roots of humanity. And I just it took me a while to realize that, but I finally did. And then now at this stage where I'm at with my YouTube channel, I'm trying to get more people to enjoy different formats and specifically comic books because I think that is my favorite storytelling medium.
Yeah.
But I just want more people to embrace stories and storytelling. So
Mhm.
actors are at the heart of that. So
Actors and
thank you
writers.
for all that you do.
Well,
Yes,
I
yes,
couldn't do it without people
100%.
sending me scripts. Otherwise,
Yes.
I'm just okay. Because sometimes you have people say, "Well, make up lines that you think your character would say," and it's like, but I don't know who this person is.
Mm,
Like,
yes.
give me like the improv games on TV. Like, give me a time, a place, give me something to work with. I am not a mind
Yes.
reader. I need at least something. Don't just say, well, what do you think they'd say? Like, I don't know the character. Don't do that
Yeah.
to me. I'm not a writer.
Yeah, that is 100%. I just like I said, I just find that to be fascinating on so many levels. Also, something I found fascinating was your VO brand and
Yeah.
the superhero aspect of it. So, can you kind of and I saw on your webpage, there's the little is that a picture of you as a little girl?
Yep. That is
Okay,
me.
that is fantastic. Whoever's if you're watching this on YouTube right now, click a link in the show notes and go to her website because this is the most adorable picture of all time. I'm
My mom
hoping
will
that
be so
one
happy
day
to hear that.
I hoping one day to have a daughter that I can put in a little Supergirl costume or a little Spider Girl costume or something and be that adorable as you are in there. But how did you come across that? What kind of how did you decide on that branding? Because I just love that.
Okay, so here we go. So this is the story. So
Yeah.
I was originally an only child for about 6 years, and then my sister was born. I'm pretty sure now, I don't want to get it twisted. My dad was very happy that I was a girl, but I think he was really hoping for a boy because he was going to name me Clark after Clark Kent. My dad's
Oh,
favorite
nice.
character of all time was Superman. That was his guy. I've always been a Batman girl, so naturally we'd butt heads about it. And I would say, "Well, you remember who kicked his butt, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, but dad and I'd give it a fair fight." We would always like fight about it, but friendly fighting. But that's what I was raised on. I was one of those kids. If you were a girl, like first of all, I would say pre 1997, and I'm dating myself here. It was not cool to like this stuff. Did you get picked
Mm,
on a lot as a kid? Because I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If
I was
you were
growing
a
up in the
girl
'80s
that
and
liked
yeah.
comic books or Star Wars or anything in the nerd, I hate saying that,
Yes.
but the nerd and the
Right.
geek pop culture,
Mhm.
man, it was brutal for us. It was brutal. But the upside to that, I
Yes.
always got to be Princess Leia on the playground when I would play Star Wars with my friends because
Nice.
none of the other girls wanted to
Yes.
play. So I always got to be her,
Yes.
which is great because she's my favorite. But that's what I was raised on. My dad grew up with comic books. I mean, like I said, Superman was his favorite. So that's how he raised me. I mean, I had a poster of the X-Men from the 80s on my wall as a kid. When Rogue had the mohawk and like the hair, and Storm had the
Yeah.
mohawk, and
Yeah.
Rogue had like the mullet
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yes.
And my
Yes.
dad would
Yes.
say, "Who's that one? Who's that one?" "Cyclops, Beast." Like that was me when I was little. So that was just ingrained in me. And one of my favorite
Mm.
movies, and I still have a soft spot for it as an adult, but one of my favorite movies as a kid was Helen Slater's Supergirl. So that's why my parents got me that costume. And I would put my
Mm.
hands in the air and my dad would fly me around. So they got me that costume. I think I was about a year and a half old in that picture. That was
Oh,
Halloween 1989. That would put me at about a year and a half old.
wow. That's
And
yeah,
I
that
wore it
that is a
all the time.
oh, man, that's a
All
great story. I love
the time.
I love that. I actually was a huge fan of that Helen Slater movie when I was growing up as well,
Mhm.
and, Superman was my guy also growing up. I have now, um, come
Ooh.
to appreciate, Batman. I just got these new Batman
Oh,
shoes. I
those
I
are
don't know if the
rad.
camera's
Look at that.
focusing on them,
I need some.
but
Can you send me the link later? I need those.
yes, actually, yeah, they just had a sale, and I got some Joker ones too. I don't know if that's
I can
focusing. Yeah,
see. Yeah.
so
Oh, that's
I'm a,
awesome.
I was I'm a now a Batman convert. I like Batman just as much as I like Superman, but I'm the same as you. My dad was the reason.
Mhm.
He was the one who instilled it in me that hey, this is a great storytelling medium here. Have this comic book. this is what I read when I was a kid,
Yep.
and I think I've now taken it, further than he has. My dad doesn't have Spider-Man posters on the wall, doesn't have a podcast talking about Across the Spider-Verse and things like that, but I got a lot of my, morals from superheroes and
Mhm.
comic books and growing up, and then it's interesting what you were saying about being picked on and being kind of the nerd and the geek growing up. All of those kids are now the ones I think who are running a lot of these companies and corporations and things, and these are the ones who are making the decisions a lot of times, and
Yeah.
so it's so crazy to see now where popular culture is compared to when I think when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool now.
geek is the cool. Yes, it's the
It's
new
cool.
cool.
And I have this from when I was little. Let me see if my camera will pick it up.
Oh, yes,
Yeah. I
nice.
have had this since I was little, this Wonder Woman figurine. You can see the paint is rubbed off. She was in the bath with me many times. She dated my RoboCop figurine for a while and they broke up. It did not work out between them. Did not work,
Oh,
sadly did not
man.
work out. I think she broke up with him if memory serves, but yeah.
Oh,
So that was kind of the foundation for it. And about 7 oh, almost 8 years ago, I left California and I moved across the country and I was out there and I didn't know. Growing up out here in the industry, you just stumble into opportunities. But I moved out there, I didn't know anybody, and I really had to learn the business side of voiceover in addition
mm,
to everything else. And so I said, okay, I was doing all this stuff on camera and all this other stuff in theater, but if I'm doing voiceover, I need to rebrand myself. And I read a book, brilliant book for any voice actors out there. And you go, what is my brand? I want you to read Voiceover Achiever by Celia Siegel. And I read that book and it hit me like a bolt of lightning. And it said, it was like voiceover superhero. And I went, oh, okay. And like I felt it, when you feel something, you go, that's mine. It
yes.
is akin to season 7 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is my favorite show ever. When she sees the scythe in the rock and she says, "That's mine." That is how it felt. I just did a rewatch of that show, so it's
Mm.
very fresh.
Oh,
Not like I'm never
nice, nice.
rewatching it, but that's beside the point. But I knew it was mine,
Oh,
and it felt right. And I use my now, when you're doing IP like that, you got to be really careful with branding, but the point of it was, and I've had it since 2018. I got it trademarked. I've had the website. I've done all that stuff. And I've really
nice.
spent time building that brand. And I wanted that brand specifically. And the brand colors were inspired by my favorite superhero, as you could probably tell, is Batgirl.
Yes.
Because
I l
what I love about her is, especially in her run as Oracle, she never let anything keep her down. She always said, I have more I can do. I have more I can give. You're not going to count me out of the fight. Sure, I can't do what I used to do physically, but I'm still the smartest person you've got on your team. I can do this. I can still be a part of it. I can help be a part of something bigger than myself. Like that is my girl. And
mm,
she didn't let Bruce stop her from becoming a hero. Now, listen, I love Batman. I love Bruce, but sometimes he is a stubborn pain in the ass. And I say that with all the love in the world, but it's like, my guy, you can't run everything. And
right.
so
Yes.
she said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to play in this boys club, but I'm going to do it my way and you can't stop me. And I said, what better character to kind of model my avatar after than me being a woman in a man's world? Voiceover is now starting to shift to women. Women are getting more opportunities. But
Mm,
even 7, 8 years ago, it was still mostly a man's game. And so for me, it was like, I am only one person, but without working with clients and working with other people, what is it that I do? But that's what superheroes do. Are they still superhero if they're not
yes.
saving somebody? That's a philosophical question. You know what I mean? Philosophical question. But it was that idea of how can I be of service? It's not about me
Mm,
being a hero and doing all of that. It's like, no, I can't do what I do if it's not for everybody I work with. And I want to show that girls can do this too. I'm not going to limit
mm,
myself. So that was kind of how that started, and it made sense to me in a matter of I'm not going to limit myself, and I want to be, in a weird way, it's like I want to be the hero that I looked up to when I was little.
mm.
It's like a whole inner child
Yes, that
healing thing. Be like, hey,
yeah.
we're going to be okay. It's going to be rough right now, but just wait 20, 30 years. It's going to be okay.
Mm,
So it's a lot of like,
that's perfect.
yeah, that's really where it came from, was having that background with comic books and superheroes and going, girls can do it too. And we can do it
Mm,
really well.
yeah.
Yeah,
And is that something that you have, kind of noticed the current crop of, like, The Marvels is the latest Disney Marvel superhero film, and that has 3 women protagonists in it, something that, in the '80s and '90s would have been
unheard
unheard
of.
of. Um, what do you think about the current, I guess, stages of superheroes and the the spotlight that women superheroes are getting these days?
Yeah,
Are
I have
in
thoughts.
movies or TV shows? Yes.
I have thoughts. I'm probably very much biased towards the idea of give us more, because my parents did such a good job in giving me so many of these role models. I mean, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, when I was 4, was Terminator 2. And I'm sure a big part of that was Sarah Connor, because she just, oh my God, she was
Mm,
just kicking ass. I don't like, can I say that? Yeah, I think I
yes.
can. But
Yeah.
she was just like, it was unbelievable. And I used to watch Wonder Woman when I was little, and I have the freaking figurine, and one of my costumes was Supergirl, and I have a Nissan Rogue because of Rogue from X-Men, because
That
that's my
is
girl.
amazing.
Like, I just,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I love the Marvels. I went to see it twice. And I
Ah.
think a lot of people, and maybe somebody out there is going to want to fight me. Okay, bring it on. I think that we need more of those stories, because if I was a little girl seeing the Marvels, I would have pooped my pants out of excitement. I'm like, "Oh my
Mhm.
God, this
Yes.
is amazing." And
Yes.
there's representation for girls. And there's representation for people. When you see yourself on the screen, like I see Captain Marvel on the screen, I'm like, "Oh, it's me." But to be like a 4 or 5-year-old girl, what I wouldn't have gived to see someone that looked like me in a superhero movie on screen. I would be insufferable. I probably am a little bit now, but I would be even more insufferable. Like, that's what girls need. That's what people need. That's what boys need. That's what everybody needs. Role models. And that's what these characters do. They are versions of us that inspire us to do better, to be better, to make the hard choices. And we see them go through it and go, they survived that. I can survive this. They are who we aspire to
Yes.
be. My branding is who I aspire to be. It's who I am. But on a bad day, I go, I've got her. I got to be her. I aspire to be this character. She is getting a makeover next year, by the way, refreshing my website, getting a little avatar makeover.
Nice.
Very excited. One of my friends is
Nice.
doing it. But yeah, I absolutely loved the Marvels. I thought it was fun. I don't understand a lot of the hate on it, just because I think people feel threatened. Personally, I think people feel threatened that it's a movie about girls and a movie about women and girl power. That is my thought on it. You can critique a movie for not being strong in some areas, but to go, this looks stupid. Like, well, you haven't even seen it. You're just mad that it's girls.
Right.
You're just mad.
Yeah.
Like, can girls
That
have some of the
I don't know.
stories, please?
Right. I don't know if you remember when that trailer first came out, the first trailer for that, it was like the most disliked trailer in YouTube history. And it was like, wait a minute, you haven't even seen the movie yet. Like, what is going on? Why
Hmm.
is there? So I thought there was so many things against the movie. And now the narrative is, oh, this is a box office failure and all this stuff. But I think there were, like, coming out of COVID issues, like not going back to the theater, being on Disney Plus soon, and people weren't going out to the theater.
Hmm.
Like,
The
then the
strike.
writer's strike, the actor's
Yep.
strike. There was so many things that that movie had to climb uphill
Yeah.
against. And I did a whole review on my channel. I really liked the movie, and I wanted to go back and see it a second time, but I just didn't get a chance to get back out to the theater. But that I'm 100% with you that I think representation is very important for young um, young people growing up today. And my son is part he's African American. He's My wife is Latina, so Miles
Yeah.
Morales as Spider-Man. When I see that character on screen, it's not 100% me, but I see my son, and so like I feel like this matters, and I'm hoping that when my son, he's 2 right now, so
Oh,
when he gets a little bit older, he's gonna be. Oh, this is a air freshener that my wife got
oh
of
my
my son's face.
gosh.
So this is his thing. But
Oh,
yeah,
what a
so
cutie.
Miles Morales is 100% my son when I think about him on screen of the someone that he can look up to and say, "Hey, that is someone like me that I can see myself in." So I'm 100% with you on representation, and I really hope that we can get more of those shows, and I hope the Hollywood doesn't take the wrong idea from the Marvel's box office and be like, "Oh, it'll be another 20 years before we make another movie with 3 female protagonists in it again."
Yeah.
I just hope they don't take the wrong message away from that.
Yeah, and it was kind
So
of that same idea with some of the criticism of Barbie too. Like, I thought Barbie was great.
oh, yeah,
It was a
right.
lot of that,
I
and
I think that was the number 1 movie of the box office
yeah,
this year.
but people were, because it wasn't about them, or they were taking the wrong message from it. It was that same idea of like, "Oh, this is a stupid movie, blah blah blah." I think it was John Carpenter, who I love. I love horror movies. John Carpenter said, "I don't understand the hate for it." He said, "It wasn't really a
Hmm,
movie for me, but I'm not gonna trash it." He's like, "I'm an old
right.
white guy. This was not really a movie for me, but that's okay. Like, I'm sure it's still a perfectly
Yes,
good movie. I didn't get it, but that doesn't mean other people can't." And it's like, "See, this guy gets it. Why is it?"
yes.
But it's that same idea, and I just wanna show you up here. I used to have a Captain Marvel, desk chair, but I have up here, ba-ba-ba-bum, I put the
Hey,
pillow from it up
nice,
there, like, trying to. Oh,
nice.
okay, we're good. I might have just messed up my camera. We're fine.
And a
Um,
nice Gonzo,
and Gonzo up there.
appearance there.
I had a Gilda Radner as Rosanna Dana figurine up there, and it
Ooh.
fell and hit my arm, so I took it out.
Ah,
But,
ah. Well,
yeah. We should all be more weird
that's
like
awesome.
Muppets in our lives,
Yes.
but yeah, I am a big fan of. I mean, when I saw Captain Marvel in 2018, I was like, "Oh, we have a character with trauma, with a backstory who is deciding her own future." Like for me, that was like, that's me. And so that's why I dressed up as her for Comic-Con the following year, and I have a few of
Nice.
my friends are like, "Why is that you? Why does that look like you?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, but that's a great compliment, so thank you."
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I'm certainly not mad about the comparison. So, works for me, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
I don't know. I just think, like, let girls have their stories, like, we need it too. It's been
Right.
a boys' game for so long. Why
Right.
not? If you feel
And not
threatened by that,
every
too bad.
right. 100%. And not every, like John Carpenter said, not every movie is going to be for every single person. Not every story is for everyone,
Yeah.
because there are different shades or different type. There's all kind of textures and types out there. So there's not just one single thing that necessarily has to appeal to everyone. And you can have those type of movies as well. But hey, let us have the smaller movies or the niche movies. Like I'm with you. It's like I don't get the hate. I don't get when people are, if it's not for you, then don't go see it. Go
Don't go see
focus
it.
on what you do like. Yeah.
Don't go see
So
it. Don't spend, like, are you really gonna take time out of your day to go bash something? Like, look at the people doing
right.
that. Are they making money off of it by getting you mad? Like,
Yeah.
are they intentionally, is this person making a career? Do they have a career out of making people mad and getting them outraged? Maybe. Look at that objectively. I don't know, crazy
Yeah.
thought, but
Yeah.
let people have stories. It's storytelling. Different people are storytellers. People deserve to have their stories told. If it's not for you, that's fine. Change the channel. It's not for you.
Yes.
That's okay. But to go out of your way and go, "Well, this is stupid because it's not for me." Okay, go be the main
Right.
character in your own life. You're not the main character in mine.
Right. Man, I wish there were more uh, Bonnie Marie Williams out there that could change this world and make it a better place. But I'm glad that we have the original, the one and only, right here in the Vactor-Verse, because I think you are doing a fantastic job. And I think that you are something that little um, girls can look up to, women can look up to, and say, "Hey, this is the type of person I want to be." And I think everything that you are doing, you're putting a positive light out into the world. So thank you for being you. Just I want to say thank you
You're gonna
very
make me
much.
cry. Well,
Um,
thank you very much. I'm not even gonna make a short
yes,
joke
and
about people looking up to me. Not even gonna do that.
Also, thank you very much for joining me here today in the Vactor-Verse. This was a fantastic talk and a fantastic episode. If you would be so kind, I would love to have you back again to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Yes.
to talk about Captain Marvel,
Yes.
talk about anything else that you are enjoying in the world of comic books, Star Wars, superheroes, geek things. Would love to have you back again in the Vactorverse.
Yes, please. I would love to come back. This was really fun. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, listener and viewer, if you're watching on YouTube. Please, if you would be so kind, head over to vosuperhero.com. If you're watching this in the future, you might see a made over avatar. You might see a new version. But if you're watching it right now, as we are talking in 2023, head over. You'll get the whole Batgirl scheme, the whole purple. I love all the purple. That's my favorite color. So I love all of that
Oh, yeah.
on your website. But check out vosuperhero.com. You can hire this, you can have this amazing voice talent on your ringtone, your voicemail. You can have her on your podcast. You can have her anywhere. vosuperhero.com is the place. And I want to say, if you would be so kind as well, in the comments and right next to the little like button down on YouTube, there's a little thing and it says thanks. It's like a super thanks, and it's just a small way to donate here in the Vactor-Verse to doing this show and to reading more comic books. It just helps me out, and I can kind of turn it around and give back to everyone. And the money that is donated, I can use it to make this show better. So if you'd be so kind, you could do that down below. Tell your friends about the Vactor-Verse. Tell them about vosuperhero.com. All of the places are going to be linked down below here in the show notes. And I want to say, Bonnie loves comics, and you should too.